Plant Combo is back, duelists! It is I, Hellgear, and this is my Rikka deck profile for post Power of the Elements. The Water Plant waifus got 2 new cards in the main deck, and they still know how to entertain and do what they do best. Turn your opponent's resources into tribute fodder to make them plays. Sip my blueberry punch there. Like, sub, and bell because there are more. I can tell you there's going to be at least 2 more Power of the Elements upgraded deck profiles coming to the channel within this week. So stay tuned and be sure to like, sub, and bell and leave your thoughts on the new digs in the comments section below. Let's count the cards. So as always, I'm going to begin this route with 2 Rikka Petal. Zoom this out a little bit. There we go. So, I still run Rikka Petal at 2. People keep telling me I should be playing this at 3. Once per turn, you can take a Rikka monster from your deck and either add it to your hand or send it to the graveyard. And on the end of your opponent's turn, if you control no monsters or all plants, you can special summon this level 1 fairy from your graveyard. The fact that it recurs itself is the reason why you don't need 3 of these. And because this is our Rhoda / Foolish Burial all-in-one monster, she makes really good plays. And has even grown up a little bit, thanks to the new card, Rikka Princess. As you can see, it's just a Rikka Petal, not as diminutive in size. This is one of the new monsters. I'm running her at 3, and it hurts my soul that this card is in common. You can special summon this card from your hand. Are we doing this in defense position? Nope. Special summon this card from your hand, and while it's face up in the monsters zone, you are locked into special summoning plants for the turn. And as a quick effect, if your opponent activates a spell or trap card or effect, you contribute the princess and a plant you control to negate the effect. Rikka's needed them negates, man, and that's always a good thing to have on a level 4 body. One thing I didn't mention is that my previous build was 42 cards. This one is an even 40 as we go into the triple of Mudan the Rikka Fairy. When tributed by the effect of a plant, you contribute a plant monster you control to special summon her to your field. She's got a big butt, as you can tell, with 2,400 in the back. And when she's special summoned by the effect of a plant, including herself, she wrote us a Rikka spell or trap to your hand once per turn. I am still playing the 2 Hellbore of the Rikka Fairy. This is our in-archetype hand trap while you control a Rikka monster and acts like an effect veiler from the turn. You can also banish it from the graveyard. But you can also special summon from the graveyard, but it's banished when it leaves the field. Snowdrop the Rikka Fairy at 1 as usual. You contribute a plant you control to special summon her and 1 other plant from your hand to your field, locking you into plant monsters for the turn. Being locked into plants is no big deal, as every monster in this deck is a plant. Also, once per turn, you can target a plant you control, including herself, and all the plants that you have on your field become the targeted monster's level for the turn. This level manipulation goes very well with the Xyz plays that you can run in this deck. Erica has been dropped down to 1 in this particular build. In addition to being able to be special summoned from the graveyard, but banished when leaving the field. She is the in-archetype Honest. And not just for Rikka monsters, for any plant that you might battle with. as a pitch to give him 1,000 attack and defense for the turn. One Primula the Rikka Fairy. Lowered this to 1 as I originally had it at 2 in the previous build. If you tribute a plant this turn, you can special summon this card from your hand in defense position. And of course the whole banishing with the leave the field thing goes on. The rest of the other plants in the deck, I run the quick little Aroma engine in one Angelica and Laurel. Angelica can act as a hand trap to give you life points, and is also one of the deck's tuners. Laurel can even become a tuner. 2 Lone Fire Blossom. I don't need to tell you how good that card is. I don't need to tell you how good that card is. Still rocking a Spore. In testing, I originally took this out of the deck for a Cyclamen of the Rikka Fairy, but I needed my Spore back. This Spore is just so good. And then wrapping up the monsters, the 3 Evil Thorns. You tribute it to sting your opponent for 300 damage. Then you special summon up to 2 more Evil Thorns from your deck in attack position, but they can't activate their effects this turn. So you can ping your opponent for 300, tribute it as cost, and then you pull out the other 2. Wrapping up our spells, or our monsters. And now it's time for the spell game. The newest spell in the deck is the field spell, Rikka Con Con. This wonderful thing, when it's activated, lets you set a Rikka spell or trap directly from your deck. And this can work very well with one of the other cards, Rikka Flurries, which is now a one of. Also, once per turn, if you attribute a plant monster to activate a Rikka card effect, you contribute one of your opponent's face-up monsters as if it were your own. So, going back to the tribute plays that Rikkas do so well, if you attribute one of your monsters to activate an effect, you could actually tribute one of your opponent's monsters. And when a Rikka monster is tributed once per turn, Flurries has you make your opponent tribute a monster of their choice. Rikka Flurries is spot removal that affects the player. It does not target the opponent's cards, it affects the player. People ask me this a lot about targeting and stuff like that. Just be warned that at the end of the turn, if you control non-plant monsters, Rikka Flurries is destroyed. 1 for 1 because Petal and Evil Thorn are both aces in this deck. 2 copies of Rikka Glamour. This is the N archetype Rhoda, where you can also tribute a plant when you do. This lets you, in addition to adding the Rikka monster from your deck to your hand, if you tribute a monster to activate this effect, you can add a plant monster with the same name as the Rikka you Rhoda, but a different name. So for example, if you were to Rhoda Primula the Rikka Fairy and you tribute, say, your Petal that's on the field, you can grab yourself a Rikka Princess as well, because it is the same level as Primula, but a different name. You go through your resources rather quickly, so we have these wonderful cards to give us those nice fresh draws. It's too bad Moray of Avarice does not work with fish, or does not work with straight up water monsters, and it works with fish. Otherwise, I would use that instead of Moray of Greed for the fresh draws. Feel free to replace that with your pot of choice. Avarice just gets us monsters back to draw too. Again, you go through resources quick in this deck. You'll be surprised. Back row hate at the cost of a rack. Because we got to get rid of anti-spell fragrance, right? Y'all know how Call by the Grave works. You also know how Monster Reborn works. I don't need to explain those cards to you. 1 Rikka Tranquility. This is our trap that lets us tribute a plant to special summon another plant from our graveyard. And if you tribute a plant, you can get another one. 2 Rikka Sheet. Again, most decks run 1 Sheet, 2 Tranquility. I'm backwards, and I don't care. If you tribute a plant when you activate this, you can not only negate the effects of the monster on your opponent's field, but you can steal it, and it becomes a plant monster. Again, if you have non-plants on your field at the end of your turn with flurries, it goes to the graveyard. Still rocking 2 Ice Barriers because negates are good, and dropping an attacking monster to 0 is wonderful. Having 2 water monsters on the field makes the Icebound God still a worthwhile card to play. Lowered it to 1, especially since you can get this back from your graveyard. And that's going to wrap up the main deck for our water plant waifus. Extra deck hasn't really changed much. Actually, it hasn't changed at all compared to the last build. I'm still running 2 Rikka Queen Strenna and the Sylvan Princess Sprite. Sylvan Princess Sprite gets us an excavation off a detach, and if it's a spell or trap, you add it to your hand, otherwise you send it to the graveyard. Strenna is a detach on Rhoda, and if you tribute this card while it has an Xyz material, you can literally rank up Xyz Change using that card as a material for any high-level plant monster. Fairy Knight Inganar is still the weirdest rank 6 in the deck for needing 3 level 6s, which isn't that hard to pull out, but detaches 2 materials. It is a full board bounce at spell speed 4. Or think of it as that backup plan to nuke the board. Kanzashi's at 1. I originally ran this at 2, but I don't really summon it as much, giving your Rikka monsters that extra protection. 1 Teardrop the Rikka Queen. Konami, please reprint this card so duelists don't have to spend $80 on this. You know, put this in, put Teardrop the Rikka Queen in Battles of Legend Crystal Revenge as an ultra rare. That way, Rikka duelists who don't have this card can save their money. Nobody should pay 80 racks for this card. If you have a plant monster as Xyz material, which you should, the tributing a monster on the field is a quick effect, and for each turn, and for each monster that is tributed, you get a slight attack point boost for the turn. Remember, Teardrop the Rikka Queen can tribute one of your opponent's monsters. Sacred Tree Beast Hyperiton. This is one of the targets you can rank up Xyz Change into off of Strenna. It is also a negate, like the Ogdoadic duelists run. My Secret Spice in Galaxy Eye Cipher Dragon. Detach a material from this card. Steal an opponent's monster. It becomes Galaxy Eye Cipher Dragon in name and 3,000 attack points for the turn, but it's the only monster that can attack for the rest of your turn. So, steal a monster, swing at him for 3 racks. And then, in main phase 2, instead of giving it back to your opponent, you just overlay Cipher Blade Dragon right on top. And now Cypher Blade Dragon has a material to detach to blast a card your opponent controls. Them sneaky plays, man. 1 Perialis Empress of Blossoms. Once per turn, can special summon a level 6 or higher plant monster from your graveyard and gains a slight attack and defense boost. Is this? It's 400 attack for every other plant monster on your field. For the links, Aromaseraphine Jasmine. If you cannot afford this, get the Sylvan Link 2 monster. It works just as well. Really good for your plays. Protects the monsters it points to if your life points are higher than your opponent and can't be destroyed by battle. Plus, you contribute one of your plants that this card points to special summon one from your deck. Coral Anemone, because the majority of the monsters in the deck are water. Small Nightmare Engine. And lastly, Bengalancer the excuse me. Actually had to get a quick burp there. Sorry about that, folks. Bengalancer the Resurgent, for that good bounce away at the cost of life points. And as long as you have link monsters in your graveyard that total exactly 4, you can bring it back. I was told to play Needle Fiber in this deck, in the extra deck, but I want to see if it gets hit on the upcoming ban list, folks. So, one question that I keep getting about this deck regards our good man Evil Thorn here. And I'm just going to shuffle up the deck real quick, draw 4 more cards, and talk about this for a moment. A lot of people look at me and they say the only reason Helgeir plays Evil Thorn in his Rikka deck is because of the 300 burn damage for time. And that is far from the case. So, let us zoom out a little bit more. And let's get some more cards. So we have Snowdrop, Erica, that's a boost up, Primula, and Lonefire Blossom. So, you'd think a whole monster hand is bad, but it's not too bad because there are plays to be made here. Anyway, you'll summon your first Evil Thorn. You'll use the Evil Thorn's effect to tribute it. Burn your opponent for 300 life. Then you'll pull the other 2 Evil Thorns. There's one. And the other one in attack position. You have to special summon these in attack position, as per the effect of the card. So, with this hand, you can do a number of plays. You can tribute one off to put Snowdrop on the field, and another card. Or you can go into the link play that I'm about to do.
Will you please fill my bottles up? Yeah, that's not the way I'm recording. Oh, okay. Thank you.
So, with this hand, you can do a couple of things. Again, you can tribute one for Snowdrop, but that's not where we're going to play here. So we'll link these 2 away. We will go into Aromaseraphine Jasmine. Seraphine Jasmine. Now, if you didn't want to do the Jasmine play, you can always tribute the Jasmine to get a link in the graveyard. Bring out Snowdrop. Oh, wait. Going a little too fast there. Let's put this back. Because we tributed a monster this turn, Primula can special summon herself out in defense position. We'll special summon Primula next to Aromaseraphine Jasmine's link. We'll then use Jasmine's effect to tribute Primula. And we will summon Rikka Petal to the field. That's going to come later in the combo, so we can place Petal next to this link. Now, Petal's effect will let us get a Rikka monster. So we'll add Mudan to our hand. Now, we'll tribute Petal. We'll special summon Snowdrop in defense and Lone Fire Blossom in defense. We can tribute Lone Fire Blossom to do the wonderful Lone Fire Blossom shenanigans that everybody loves to do. Get another one out, tribute this, and get one more card like Princess. Or even better, we're not going to take Princess. Let's take Aromage Laurel. Right? Now, you can tribute Aromage Laurel, special summon Mudan to the field. Because Laurel was sent to the graveyard, you'll gain life points. And because Mudan was special summoned by her own effect, and she is a plant, you can get you a Rikka spell or trap. So in this case, we'll take Rikka Con, place right next to Snowdrop. Zoom out some more. There we go. Con on activation gives us a set. So if you wanted to set your copy of, say, Rikka Glamour, you could set that face down. Or, one of the things I like to do is set Rikka Flurry's face down. And then, of course, since it was set, you can activate it. Now, you can use Snowdrop's effect, targeting herself, making her and Mudan level 8, and overlay them both into your Teardrop, the Rikka Queen. And what this board does in a handful of monsters is, now, if you attribute for Rikka's effect, which, since you have 2 plant materials as a quick effect, you contribute one of your opponent's monsters thanks to Rikka Con. Or, if you tribute Aromatherapy, you can tribute Aromatherapy Jasmine, as you may not even need this anymore. Rikka makes some very simple boards, but these simple boards can actually prove to be very, very strong. This is the water plant waifus known as Rikka. Remember to like, sub, and bell for more deck profiles coming later this week. Thank you guys for watching. But for now, I take my cards to the box because I'm done. Bye-bye, everybody.